94-year-old Art Olson, a Polk County, Minnesota resident all his life, now resides at the Pioneer Nursing Home in Erskine. But back in 1945, after being drafted into the Army as World War II wrapped up, he had a front row seat to one of the world's most famous trials, the Nuremberg Trials in Germany. He was assigned to security inside the courtroom. It was an international court of law that sat in judgment of the top Nazis who helped plan and carry out the Holocaust and other war crimes. Again, for folks who haven't heard your story, how did you wind up as a security guard in the courtroom at the Nuremberg Trials?
Well, the colonel just come, you know. There was nine of us in the courtroom, and at the time, we stand there at parade rest for 2 hours. That's not easy to do. And then we'd have 4 hours off. That's the way we kept it going.
You had to stand at attention for 2 hours and then 4 off.
Parade rest, yeah.
For background of the atrocities that led up to the trial of top Nazis charged with murdering millions of innocent men, women, and children, here's some film that includes graphic and disturbing video from the National Archives.
And from the files, the suspects emerge. Already many had confessed their guilt in suicide. Himmler, Goebbels, the mayor of Leipzig, even the mayor's wife. But others who had no wish to die were tracked down to their hiding places and summoned to stand trial.
Olson says during the trial, as he stood guard, one of the top Nazis there, Herman Goering, asked for his pen and gave him an autograph. Olson says there was good reason Goering asked for his pen, because Goring's pen contained a cyanide capsule.
That's why I know he had that pill in there, that pen.
Okay. He had a cyanide pill inside of his pen.
Sure. Old-time fountain pens, you know. You could take off and screw off the... You've seen him, haven't you?
Yeah. And he committed suicide before he was ever hung.
Yep. He wanted to be shot, but his sentence was to be hung, and he didn't. I suppose that was a shame to be hung, I suppose, you know.
Okay.
Who knows?
Day after day, week after week, the Nuremberg trials built the horrifying case against the leaders of Nazi Germany.
Little by little, the Nazis were reaching what they called the final solution, the total extermination of the Jews of Europe. Hess described the process well.
We had 2 SS doctors on duty at Auschwitz to examine the incoming transports of prisoners. The prisoners would be marched past one of the doctors, who would make spot decisions as they walked by. Those who were fit for work were sent into the camp. Others were sent immediately to the extermination plant. Children of tender years were invariably exterminated, since by reasons of their youth they were unable to work. We endeavored to fool them into thinking they were to go through a delousing process. It took from 3 to 15 minutes to kill the people in the death chamber, depending upon climatic conditions. We knew when the people were dead because their screaming stopped. We usually waited about 1/2 hour before we opened the doors and removed the bodies. After the bodies were removed, our special commandos took off the rings and extracted the gold from the teeth of the corpses.
Following the trial, Olson was there armed with a machine gun as the sentences of execution by hanging were carried out against the Nazi leaders. They had another building where they were executing the...
That was a special building where they hung them, yeah.
Okay. And you were security outside of that also?
Yeah. 1 man on each end outside and 1 man inside on each end of the building. Because they figured maybe there'd be some Nazis running around loose that would try to free the prisoners, you see.
Veteran Art Olson, one of the few remaining witnesses to the world's most famous trials, the Nuremberg Trials. From Erskine, Minnesota, I'm Neil Carlson reporting for iNews.TV.